Okay, cool. So we have some Subaru Side-Feed fuel injectors here. We're going to take a closer look at these side-feed fuel injectors and all the little O-rings that go into assembling the side-feed fuel injectors into the fuel rails. So as you can see, there's a whole series of little O-rings here. This is actually the side-feed fuel rail. Incidentally, this motor is from a 1996 Subaru JDM STI motor. It's a version 2 STI. I'm going to write that down here, 1996 version 2 STI motor. Alright, boom. And with that model year, we had side-feed fuel injectors. You can always tell that they're a side-feed fuel injector by the way the fuel enters the fuel injector. So as you can see on this one, you have these little screens right here, these micro screens you want to clean really well. And fuel enters through these screens and will come out through the tip into the combustion chamber right here. So these are side-feed fuel injectors, pretty easy to identify. And as you can see here, so you have your fuel rail and you have these two little O-rings. So you have two O-rings that go on either side of your fuel rail. And then with each fuel injector, you have one O-ring and then O-ring to go around the body of the fuel injector, and then that's a second O-ring, and then a third O-ring, fourth O-ring, and a fifth O-ring. And this fifth O-ring actually doesn't go on the injector. This will actually go on the fuel rail itself when you install it in the manifold. That's the manifold. We'll show that at the end here. So we're going to walk through each one of these. The first one is the little O-rings that will go into the fuel rail. So I'm going to walk through with a dial caliper. I'm going to measure these for you. So we can get a measurement on them. I'm going to put it down on paper, and you're going to have this as a quick little reference guide. Okay, so these are about 6 millimeters. Okay, so first little set are 6 millimeters, and boom. Okay, the next little set. This is the first O-ring. It's a round O-ring. Incidentally, that first one is also a round O-ring. So this first one's a round O-ring, and it's going to go into the fuel rail, kind of like so, right? Okay. Next one is also a round O-ring. This round O-ring is actually going to go in the body of your fuel rail, in the bottom, where the fuel injector will sit. Okay, that's the second one. So I'll grab that second one, and we'll put the caliper on it. And this one is also about 6 millimeters. Alright, 6 millimeters. So these two are 6 millimeters. That's actually, I'll put a little arrow on it, make it easy for you guys to reference which ones we're talking about. Alright, so those two are 6 millimeters. Then you have the fuel injector itself. Then you have these two. Now these two O-rings, these are actually flat O-rings. I'm going to pull this guy up so you can see. This one's real flexible. It's a rubber O-ring and it's flat. If you can kind of see the profile there. Yep, get a little zoom in. And this flat O-ring is going to go over the fuel injector and just kind of sit on the body of the fuel injector like so. The next O-ring you have is this clear one, and it's harder plastic. It's not as flexible, like it's not rubbery, it's more like hard plastic, but it's also flat, as you can kind of see from that profile shot. And that one goes over the injector like that. So you have those two that go over the injector, and this first one will be in the body of your fuel rail, like so. And then you'll put this one with these two on it inside your fuel injector. And incidentally, before you put these in for a final assembly, you'll actually lube this up with just some oil, just some 30 weight oil, so that you don't rip your O-ring, and everything is a nice seal and is able to sit down into the body, everything smoothly. So that's how you'll assemble those two. And I'm going to measure them for you. Okay, so I'm going to pull those back out and get a measurement on everything for you. Okay, boom. Okay, so we're going on these two, these flat ones that are going to go over the injector. Those two are about 8 millimeters. And then I'll go to these clear ones. I'm going to write these down for you again. These two are smaller. Those are about 6 millimeters. So we got some 8 millimeter ones. Put the arrows on again. And then we have some 6 millimeter hard plastic ones. Right, next. And then we have these bigger ones, these fatter ones. These big fatter ones are actually going to go over the fuel rail, not on the fuel injector. Okay. So these big fatter ones, let's get a size on these guys with a dial caliper. Try not to like stretch it out at all. You want to get an actual size here. These are actually about 7 millimeters. So I would say these final two are right at about 7 millimeters. Alright, cool. There you go. 7 millimeters for the last two. Okay, so now you can take a quick look at this, maybe take a snapshot, maybe save a screen image, but this is a quick little reference guide for all the little O-rings that go with Subaru Side-Feed fuel injectors and the inner dimensions of those O-rings for a quick reference guide. And again, I'll mention that these O-rings that go to the fuel rail are round. This one is round. This one obviously is round. I think you can see that. These two are flat, and then this one is just a thick flat one, right? And like I said, this thick flat one goes over your fuel rail. And I'm going to show you actually right now how with your intake manifold, you can imagine I'm going to grab the other one. So I'm going to put both of these big fat ones on the bottom. Here's your fuel injector, your fuel rail, excuse me. Imagine you have this guy, you got your little caps on with all your screws on, right? You got both in there, both caps on, right? This thing actually bolts in right here like this. And these bottom ones, these bottom fatty ones right here, these actually just seal these fuel injector tips into your manifold, and they'll sit in right there nice and tight. So that's kind of how that looks, like that. I can even just like kind of set it right there. That's it. So check it out. That's a breakdown of Subaru Side-Feed fuel injectors. Thanks everybody. Take it easy.